Hello and welcome to the final day of the Noosa Mining Conference. I'm Amy and it is my pleasure to be your host today. This year we celebrate the 10th year anniversary of the Noosa Mining Conference. Although we would love to have you all here in the beautiful Noosa, it is our first ever hybrid event and we have some participants joining us in the auditorium today and others joining us online. Welcome to all of our participants. Kicking off the final day of the conference, we have Andrew Penkethman, Managing Director of Ardea Resources. Without further ado, it's over to you, Andrew.
Hi, Amy. Great to be here. Thanks for the introduction and thanks to everyone for tuning in today. So we'll launch straight into the presentation. Standard disclaimer, take it as read. The Ardea value proposition. So we've got a globally significant nickel and cobalt resource with critical minerals. So we're perfectly poised to assist with a move to a low carbon future and meet the needs of modern day society. Ardea, no better company placed to ensure ethical supply of nickel and critical minerals such as cobalt and scandium. Got a very large strategic land holding in Western Australia, deliberate company strategy. It's the lowest risk operating jurisdiction in the world. And in addition to the nickel and critical minerals, we've got outstanding gold exploration opportunities, as demonstrated by two recent gold discoveries that I'll go on to say a bit more about today. Quick corporate snapshot. We retain a tight corporate structure. Shares on issue just under 128 million. Current share price, we've been around 50 cents recently, sees us with a market cap of about 65 million. We're well funded with over $12 million in the treasury to enable us to continue adding value to our strategic ground holding here in WA. And most importantly, we've got the board and management team to ensure maximum value added to our projects. We mentioned the jurisdiction of Western Australia featuring favourably in international independent assessments such as the Fraser Institute, and the image on the right highlights our project location, and we can access these from our operations base in the city of Kalgoorlie, Boulder, and leverage off our local relationships. And I just also like to highlight the infrastructure there: road, rail, optic fibre, gas pipeline. We enjoy mobile coverage for most of our projects, and we've got port access at either Esperance or Kwinana, just south of Perth. So just today, with only 15-minute opportunity, we've got a large project portfolio. So I'll be focusing primarily on our Kalgoorlie nickel project tenements, saying a bit about our nickel cobalt resources, also our nickel sulfide exploration opportunities, and then ending on our gold exploration. So this image here shows Ardea's tenure in red. We're looking towards the southeast. In the top right, you see the city of Kalgoorlie, Boulder. So we can leverage off that location. A few other features worth noting are the thin yellow lines going south of Kalgoorlie. They're major gold controlling structures, or tectonic zones as we refer to them, and they're responsible for hosting tens of millions of ounces. And as an example of that, we've got about 80 million ounces of gold resource endowment around Kalgoorlie itself. So those same structures extend into Ardea's Goongarrie project. We've got gold occurrences shown in yellow, nickel in green, and the other key takeaway is the extensive zone of the resource footprint at Goongarrie, over 25 kilometres of strike. And I've also flagged a number of recent gold discoveries. And in the top left, nickel sulfide exploration underway at our Keepini project, and I'll say a bit more about that too. This image is a beauty because it shows the nickel sulfides produced from Ardea pilot plant work undertaken as part of feasibility work streams thus far, and it demonstrates that we can produce a quality project to help meet the needs of a strategic partner looking to move into being part of the lithium-ion battery supply chain. Now we'll zoom in on the Kalgoorlie nickel project. The image on our left shows our tenure, and the key takeaways here are the size of our resources. They're globally significant. They have to play a critical part in the battery revolution. So 5.5 million tonnes of contained nickel, over 400,000 tonnes of contained cobalt, The most advanced project is our Goongarrie nickel cobalt project, or GNCP, and on the image on our left you'll see that highlighted in purple, and again the infrastructure that we can leverage off with the project development. And most importantly, the feasibility work undertaken clearly demonstrates a robust project development and the ability to produce a product customised to meet the needs of our customers. A little bit more detail about the resource. It's the fundamental building block for every project. Critical that you understand it in absolute detail. On the left, we show an example of the graphitic ore, and that is the dominant ore type at Goongarrie, and it's the premium ore type for this style of nickel cobalt laterite hosted deposit. We've got little containers there of nickel and cobalt sulfate from our pilot plant. And the image on the bottom right just highlights the scale of the project. This is a cross-section looking north. We've got mineralisation, as I mentioned earlier, extends over 25 kilometres of strike. It's over 300 metres wide and it's over 100 metres in depth on this section. So we've got the quality project and the scale to play a key part in the battery revolution. And this image is a beauty. It just highlights the woodland that's most common within our about 100 kilometres of the city of Kalgoorlie, Boulder. And that's taken from our Goongarrie nickel cobalt project. The area has a long history of mining dating back over 125 years now, and having that made in Western Australia label ensures ethical supply. And everything we do is predicated on minimising environmental footprint and being a part of the low carbon future. So again, Goongarrie is perfectly poised. Now I'll say a bit more about our nickel sulfide exploration and pipeline of projects. And the image on our left, just note the areas in purple, they're ultramafic rocks. It's those ultramafic rocks that host most nickel sulfide mineralisation in WA. Ardea has one of the largest ground holdings of ultramafic stratigraphy in Australia. So in addition to our nickel cobalt resources, we've got a strong pipeline of exploration underway for nickel sulfides. And I'll just say a bit more about one target, but I'll just stress it's one of many. So here we've got Emu Lake. The image on the right, this project's located 70 kilometres northeast of Kalgoorlie this time, and there's two ultramafic belts, an eastern and a western zone. We control over 25 kilometres of this key prospective horizon. Exploration's underway at Target 1 on the map on the right-hand side, and we call that Binti Gossan. So here's a long section of Binti Gossan looking west. And the key features to note here are there's been historical drilling, but that historical drilling's intersected high-grade nickel sulfide mineralisation, grades up to 11%. So again, it highlights that this area is fertile, and now we've got a vector in on where those accumulations are sufficiently well developed to define a mineral resource. So we've got the polygons, rectangles shown in purple on the left-hand side, and they're downhole electromagnetic plates. So they're targets, high conductance zones that could represent accumulations of nickel sulfides with potential economic potential. So we will be following up on that with drilling. We'll commence drilling ELD 46, the off-hole EM plate, later this month. So yeah, pretty keen to get results for that and share those with you in due course. And just to put this target style into perspective here, the same long section, but we've overlaid the Silver Swan underground workings and zones of nickel sulfides that have been mined. So you can see in between the drilling completed at Binti Gossan, there's very much room to host a large nickel sulfide system. These systems tend to occur in clusters, so where you find one, you tend to find more. And again, this is just one little area of our Emu Lake project. So we've got a very strong pipeline of nickel sulfide projects and active programs underway. Now we'll get on to the gold. And this plan, this time shows our tenure in the eastern goldfields of Western Australia in red, but it's overlain on the greenstone. So again, gold's where you find it, but it's the most common host rock in this part of the world is the greenstones. You can see Ardea's tenure perfectly positioned on crustal scale tectonic zones. They're the main structures that control the gold mineralisation in this part of the world. So it's one of the largest gold producers in the world, and that's going to continue for quite some time. Now we'll zoom in on Goongarrie, and again, this is just one example because of time, but I'd encourage you to come and engage with the Ardea team if you'd like to know more. So the image here shows Goongarrie at the same scale as known gold camps, St Ives and Kundana, but the key difference is most of Goongarrie, we have surface cover and lake sediments obscuring the prospective basement rocks. With two recent gold discoveries, we've got proof of concept that Goongarrie is an emerging gold camp. Now that all started with Big Four, and Big Four cropped out at surface. You can see the location on the image on our left and all the surrounding infrastructure that we can leverage off. Now that resource was defined in May. We've since done some metallurgical test work that's defined compelling recoveries, about 98%, and most importantly, conventional gravity in CIL with no refractory issues or deleterious contaminants. So very pleased with the results from Big Four, and we applied those learnings to help understand the mineralised system undercover at Goongarrie. And we've made two recent discoveries at Lily Albany and Zeus, and I'll go on to say a bit more here. And here's just some images of the Ardea team doing what they do best, and that's finding gold deposits and adding maximum value to our projects. So here, Lily Albany, we're still only 70 kilometres northwest of the city of Kalgoorlie, Boulder. It was hidden by 10 to 40 metres of surface cover. It was a geophysical target. We tested it with air core, got strong anomalism at over 2 kilometres, and we've been vectoring in on the highest grade zones with RC drilling. We confirmed the discovery to the state government here in Western Australia about 3 weeks ago, and we'll be continuing drilling there soon. But importantly, we've already defined there's supergene and low gold structures. So very much a case of watch this space as we continue work at Lily Albany. The other recent discovery, Zeus, just last week, again, that's at Goongarrie. It's only about 70 kilometres northwest of Kalgoorlie again. Some very high grade discovery intercepts such as 10 metres at 13 grams per tonne from only 42 metres downhole. So we've got the cross section in the top left to show we understand the geological controls of mineralisation. And I love the image on the bottom. They say a picture says 1,000 words, and I'll just sort of walk you through that very quickly. And where we see the grades increase, 44 to 48 metres, and we see 2 metres at 23.4, 2 metres at 33.1. You can see in the RC chips, there's structure and there's alteration, and they're two ingredients for gold mineralisation. So looking forward to doing further drilling, and importantly, this discovery is open in every direction, and we feel the system's around 1 kilometre long, and we'll be vectoring in the high-grade domains within that. So just in closing, what does Ardea represent? So we've just touched upon the globally significant KMP resource. We can leverage off the infrastructure around the city of Kalgoorlie, Boulder, 100% offtakes available. We've got a very large strategic and prospective ground holding as demonstrated by the recent gold discoveries. We've got a team with a track record of success throughout the resources sector. We love Western Australia, and we're very proud to be based here. And we're going to continue exploring and continue the news flow and adding maximum value for our shareholders. So I encourage you to join the Ardea train, and please, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out and get in touch.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for getting day 3 of our conference off to such a wonderful start.